You're listening to an Airwave Media podcast.
Want to learn how you can make smarter decisions with your money? Well, I've got the podcast for you. I'm Sean Piles, and I host NerdWallet's Smart Money Podcast. Our show features our team of nerds, personal finance experts in credit cards, banking, investing, and more. And they'll help you make the most of your money while cutting through the clutter and misinformation in today's world of personal finance. You'll get clarity on strategies to help you build your wealth, invest wisely, shop for financial products, and plan for major life events. Listen to NerdWallet's Smart Money Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Want more control over your life? You need more control over your money. Hi, I'm Jean Chatzky, and that's why I started the Her Money podcast. From understanding your money personality to taking steps to earn more, spend wisely, invest for tomorrow, and protect it all, I can help you get there. So join me. Subscribe to Her Money with Jean Chatzky wherever you get your podcasts.
We'd like to start this message by saying how much we appreciate all of our Patreon supporters. Executing the podcast is a huge financial and time commitment, and as such, it would be absolutely impossible to carry out without your support over the years. The purpose of this message is to announce that we are sweetening the pot for our current supporters and anyone who joins Patreon in the future. Currently under Patreon plans $5 and up, you receive an additional monthly trivia episode as well as our Ask Me Anything styled crop drop. Beginning January 1st, 2024, we will be releasing weekly bonus trivia episodes personally written by the hosts in addition to the crop drop. As always, new and old Patreon members will also have access to our enormous backlog of bonuses upon joining. If you have been considering joining, we hope you will consider the new episodes as yet another invitation to sign up. We hope our current members will enjoy the influx of episodes and you will never be short of trivia content. All you have to do is go to patreon.com/trivialitypodcast. And now, it's time for the show.
Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neal, and Jeff. This is Triviality.
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the game where lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. Sitting right here very closely with Ken and Jeff.
Breathing right on your neck.
Right on your neck, whispering sweet nothings into your ear. How are you both today?
You ready to answer some questions, Neal?
This is the ASMR episode.
And now that everybody's turned their volume way up.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Yesterday, ran my first 5K in 10 years.
Yeah, how'd that go?
It was good. I accidentally had you turned off, Jeff. I thought I had number 3 turned off, but number 4. I just turned you off, I think, subconsciously. I didn't want to hear your voice. But what did you ask me?
I was wondering how that went for you, Neal.
It went well. My goal was to run under 30 minutes, and I got 29:03 with a 9:22 pace, which was good for me for not doing it a long time.
And how much did you get smoked by a child a third your age?
The fastest runner was a 12-year-old who ran 19 minutes for a 5K. So I didn't see who it was, but I think I probably
because they left you way behind.
They were very behind, and I almost lost to a husband and wife pushing a stroller, but I said at the end, not today, and I sprinted in the final 100 yards. So
You know what? That probably makes it easier because they have like a support.
I think it would.
They were like coast on a shopping cart. They're probably doing that.
And I looked inside. It wasn't even a real baby. It was just a doll.
Yeah, there you go.
Just a 45-pound plate.
Yeah. But I'm doing well. Matt isn't here today. He was also in the 5K, but he was actually the guy, shooting the gun to start it.
Much like Plexico Burris. Well, we're going to leave that one that.
Only a few people get the Plexico Burris joke. So yeah, Matt isn't going to be here today. He's still waiting to get his cue to fire the gun. But Godspeed. But we have some great guests today. And Ken, I know you're excited about our first guest because we've been talking forever to see them in person, and we just haven't had a chance to yet. We've only seen videos online, and they've all been very, very good. We like to call him the personification of the movie Warrior. He's the real-life warrior.
Mm-hmm. I want to see Bill Boegeman off the top rope.
Bill Boegeman, that's right. He's coming to us from the top rope from Robbinsdale, Minnesota, Oakland 5 supporter on Patreon. How are you, Bill?
I'm doing good. I spend very little time on the top turnbuckle, but on occasion I do venture up there.
All right. Well, maybe if we do see you live, maybe you throw us a little top action if you can.
I can make that happen.
All right, cool. Well, for those that don't know,
His opponent's just like, we didn't plan this.
Yeah, right. He's like, I got to do it. The guys told me.
It's for you, Neal.
I can't do this. I can't do it. Don't do it, man.
For those that don't know at home, why don't you reintroduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Bill Boegeman. I live up in Robbinsdale, Minnesota. Social studies teacher by day, professional wrestler by night. I also have a wife and some kids. So, yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Well, we'd love having you here. You're actually hosting today's game, so that'll be something new for us since the last time we've heard you. So we're happy to have you here. And we need a player. And since Matt isn't here, Ken needed a partner, and Ken searched long and hard and wanted to get someone just very smart and who knows what they're doing. And we found someone, and it's going to be a Not a Robot Patreon supporter from Boston, Massachusetts. Sidney, how are you, Sidney?
Hi, guys. I'm great. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am an attorney in Boston, and I've been a Triviality fan since Geek Bowl was in Boston a few years ago.
Wow.
It's actually how
That's
I
awesome.
first heard about it and
That goes back.
heard about trivia podcasts in general. And yeah, big trivia fan, big Jeopardy enthusiast.
Now, did somebody hand you a card in Boston?
Possibly. I just, remember seeing, your logo and things like on, I think there was like on the slideshow or something.
I'm glad to hear it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's great.
That was my introduction to, I didn't know trivia podcasts were a thing. And so, yeah, you guys were the first one I listened to. So.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, we're so happy to have you on the show.
Yeah, and can we add you to our long list of counsel if we need your help at some point?
Yeah. I'm
All right, great.
happy to join the Triviality law firm.
Oh, wonderful. We'll pay you $1 so we have the confidentiality set in stone. Awesome. Well, yeah, we're super excited to have you here and to have Bill here. But Ken, what do we need before we play the game?
Team names?
We do need team names. I guess we could start there.
So me and Sidney taking on the wrestling theme. There's a faction called Judgment Day, but I think if I were in that faction, I'd call it Judgmental Day.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So
we're going to be Judgmental Day.
Your promos would just be judging the other wrestlers.
Yeah.
Jeff, we wanted to come up with something a little bit more cerebral in honor of Triple H, a little more cerebral assassin. So, Jeff, what are we going to be today?
We really sat down, thought about it long and hard, and we came up with what we think is incredibly clever here. The Fart Foundation.
Very good.
Thanks to Bill for that assist there. He gave us the hot tag.
We were struggling a bit, and when in doubt,
turn to Bill.
Fart
fart jokes.
Yeah, when in doubt, fart it out. Thanks, Jeff. But yeah, Ken, we need a rules read.
No, that's right. That's bad advice. Never trust a fart.
And last week we found out, Ken, how many times is the word "the" in the rules read?
What was it? 8?
It was 8.
8 times.
So let's see if you can count at home.
This is going to be Darren doing his best, Hulk Hogan doing a promo.
De regels van het spel zijn simpel. 20 vragen verdeeld over 2 rondes, waarbij elke vraag 10 punten waard is. Halverwege is er een speciale swingronde, ontworpen door de host van deze week. Na deze rondes beginnen de spelers aan de finale, met de punten die ze hebben verdiend. En hebben ze de mogelijkheid om 0 tot 30 punten in te zetten op 5 gecategoriseerde vragen. Aan het eind van het spel wordt iemand benoemd tot the cream of the crop.
Cream rise to the top, oh yeah.
And yeah, as I'm sure you counted, it was 8 times.
Yeah, 8 times in both English and Dutch.
You count that, right?
Yeah. Bill, how did you feel about the rules read, and are you ready to go?
I felt great about the rules read, and I am ready to go.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So for round 1, I kind of cheated. I did not write any of these questions. I stole these questions from the local trivia company that hosts a lot of pub trivia up here in the Twin Cities that me and a lot of my trivia teammates attend. It's called Trivia Mafia. I think they might have a presence in Illinois too. You guys, I don't know if you guys have heard of them in Chicago, but Trivia Mafia is the name of the organization. They do really great trivia, fun trivia up here. And every weekday, they send out a daily email that has 5 trivia questions in it.
Oh, cool.
I hold on a lot of those emails to write the questions up on my whiteboard in class. And so I've picked 10 of my favorite questions to give you for round 1 today.
Very
All
cool.
right.
So let's, if you're around a place where Trivia Mafia does shows, make sure you check them out.
Yeah, they're super fun. So without further ado, question 1. The furthest distance on Earth between two cities that are capitals of countries that share a land border is about 4,000 miles. For 5 points each, name those two capital cities. Note, for the purpose of this question, France and French Guiana are not the same country.
Well, we can say for sure that Russia is the largest,
Yeah,
right?
Russia popped into my head, and then just thinking,
Maybe like Russia and China.
yeah, either China or North Korea maybe is east, but yeah, I'm good with China and Russia.
Okay, so for Russia, what is it? St. Petersburg? Moscow?
I think Moscow?
Moscow? And then for China, is it
Beijing?
Beijing or Shanghai?
Beijing.
Beijing? Okay. So we'll say Moscow and Beijing.
Yeah, so when I'm thinking about this question, definitely thought of Moscow right off the bat, Neal. Had that down pat. I think Beijing is pretty far north, and so I think just slightly farther. They only have a small 17-ish mile border, but we're going to guess that it's actually North Korea, and so we said Moscow and Pyongyang.
Full points to one team, partial points to another. The answer is Moscow and Pyongyang. Moscow and Beijing are pretty far apart.
Bill tried to
Pyongyang
warn you
further.
about teaming up with me before the game. He tried to warn you.
Well,
I
got partial credit.
I can't take responsibility for what happens now, but I'll take the partial credit.
Question 2. What candy company was founded in 1949 by the jovial owner of a Colorado horse farm?
I think I'm locked in with I guess I think I have.
All right, Sidney coming in clutch. What are you guys thinking?
Okay, so we got Candy Company 1949. I think that's after Baby Ruth. That had been around for a long time. Jovial owner. Jeff, what words come to mind when you think of jovial? Happy?
Happy. Yeah. That's it.
That's about it. Happy. I'm trying to think of happy candies. Colorado Horse Farm. What is that?
I can think of Happy Cheesemakers.
Yeah. I don't think they're made out of horse meat or anything like that. The Rockies.
Is that what you think happens at a horse farm?
Well, I hope when they say the horse, they're going to go to the farm. I hope not. But the Colorado Horse Farm has like Rockies in it, maybe, or let me think. Crunch? No.
Mountain. It's not Ferrara Pan.
No. So whatever you want to go with, Jeff.
I am at a total loss. Is this Coors Candy Company?
The Banquet of Candies. We will say, I guess, Mars? Can't think of anything else. So
not too much of an idea on this one?
No, this one, we named a lot of companies, but we're thinking conglomerate over individual brand, and we just can't think of any other conglomerates, so we said Mars.
Okay. Sidney?
First thing that popped in my head, Jolly Ranchers. Or Jolly Rancher.
Oh.
Ooh.
Duh.
He is a jovial owner of a Colorado horse farm because he is indeed a Jolly Rancher.
Wow.
Great. So we talked ourselves out of it. We were thinking conglomerate rather than just a brand, candy brand.
I never knew that's why it was called that.
Question 3. What appeared twice in Winnie the Pooh's name when he first appeared in children's books in 1926, but were dropped from his name when he was acquired by Disney?
So, Jeff, I know of one name that they for sure cut out for Winnie the Pooh. And if you want to just go with your guess and we'll combine those, we'll see if we can get the extra points or both names here.
All right. Any ideas on this one right off the bat?
No. All I could think of was maybe if one of the words was repeated, like Winnie, or I don't know, poo. None of them feel right, so I'm not sure.
Would you think it would be another word or something that's already included?
Maybe another word or like something that rhymes, but
I kind of don't mind like Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh.
It would make sense why they removed it.
Yeah, so are we looking for one word or two?
I think
one
just
word.
one. One thing
appeared
that
twice.
appeared twice in the name.
Yeah, so I'm good with
I like that.
poo-poo.
I thought our team was all about the toilet humor, but
Yeah, we love poo-poo as well. So I know for a fact, I could be wrong now. My memory might be failing me, but Edward was a name that when he had at some point Edward Bear maybe. And Teddy. And then Jeff said Bear, and I was like, well, maybe it's Edward Bear and then Winnie the Pooh Bear, and then they cut the bear, and then he just went to Winnie the Pooh. So we said Bear.
I wish the answer was Winnie the Pooh Pooh. That would pair nicely with my Fart Foundation team names suggestion earlier. But the answer is actually, so no points to either team. The answer is dashes or hyphens.
Oh,
Winnie
yeah,
dash the dash poo.
I kind of remember that. Yeah.
Oh, now that you say that, I think we've gotten that wrong like 10 years, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever.
Question 4. What fast food chain unsuccessfully attempted to trademark a unit of measurement twice? Once in 2007 and again in 2009. Hint, once you hear the answer, the jingle will be in your head all day.
So we're talking about, Jeff, all these different chains, Subway, Arby's, Wendy's, Burger King.
We don't know a lot of them with jingles.
Yeah, right.
So we're just going to go with the one that sticks out first to us, and we're going to say McDonald's.
All right, Sidney, what were you thinking?
Subway and the $5 footlong, which does have a catchy jingle. I thought you guys would maybe get to it, but breezed right past it. So
$5 footlong is the jingle. Subway is the correct answer.
What unit of measurement did they try to trademark? The
footlong.
But they were only 11 inches.
I think that was part of the hang-up.
As a lawyer, Sidney, would they have gotten in trouble if they said it was a foot long, but it was only 11 inches?
No, see, because the footlong, if it's a name, so the footlong is a trade name. It's not a unit of measurement.
Truth in
it could be 4 inches.
Because, yes, they would be trademarking foot long, not foot.
Right.
Okay.
Question 5. I value xylophones like cows do milk. This is a mnemonic device to help you remember what?
I have no idea on this one. I value xylophones.
Oh, I think I know what it is. I think I got it. I think it's Roman numerals, right? Look at the first letters.
Oh, yep. Yep, 1, 5, 10. Yep, that's it.
Yep, and this is something I need too because I'm not good with Roman numerals. So that's what we're saying.
You don't know your MCM XVII?
Just answer the question.
We said Roman numerals.
Points to both teams. The correct answer is Roman numerals.
After 5, it looks like Team Fart Foundation holding in a little too much, not really releasing a lot of points here. So we only have 20, and it looks like Judgmental Day, 35. So nice little lead.
It's all thanks to Sidney.
Question 6. The Clark School for the Deaf has been teaching it since 1867. George H.W. Bush called on his supporters to do it in 1988. A YouTube channel with over 8 million subscribers is dedicated to doing it poorly today. What is it?
I'm sorry to say, nothing's jumping out at me.
I think, I don't know, the George Bush piece is the piece that I'm not quite sure, but I was thinking maybe, is there a YouTube channel called like Bad Lip Reading where they do like fake overdubbing for like movie trailers and things like that?
Yeah, I like that. Lip reading. Yeah, it sounds good. Oh yeah, George Bush said, "Read my lips."
No more.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Great answer.
Yeah, well done to you guys for figuring it out. Read my lips. There will be no new taxes. That worked out very well for Mr. George H.W. Bush. We said lip reading, and hopefully it's a good one.
Points to both teams. The answer is lip reading. Question 7. The German word for fright is, coincidentally, Also the last name of the actor who played Nosferatu in 1922. Drop a C, and it is the last name of Christopher Walken's character in Batman Returns. Drop another C, and it's the name of a children's book character invented in 1990 who became a movie character in 2001. What is that German word?
We can lock in.
I think I know this one from the
Willem Dafoe movie.
well, no, just knowing the actor who played Nosferatu. I think it's Max Schreck. Shrek, spelled with 2 C's, one after the S and one after the E. So you could drop C's from there and get to Shrek, the character. Do you like that, Sidney? Shrek?
Yes. Yeah, I have no idea on this one. So that, yeah.
Yeah, we think it is Max Schreck as well. I think it's spelled Schreck.
Mm-hmm.
Points to both teams. The answer is Shrek.
No, our film studies, Neil.
That's right.
See, I could get a movie question right.
Mm-hmm. Not
They're
often,
not
but you
all
do.
they're not.
No one doubted you.
They're not all for you, Neil.
Did you say you often do?
No, I said not often because 2 episodes ago he got one wrong, but didn't say anything about it. No, Ken gets a lot of movie questions right.
They're all for you, Neil. All for you.
See, Bill understands though what you don't understand. You have to play into the bit, Ken.
I'm playing.
You play into the bit.
I'm playing.
You're falling right into it.
That's true.
Just picking up Neil's
Here comes the
scraps
kendo
over there.
stick. It's coming for you.
Number 8. What element of suburban design, which gets its name from the French for bottom of the bag, was the subject of a pluralization debate on Gilmore Girls?
I watched this episode yesterday. We're in.
Well, good for you. But I would say, I mean, when I think of
Richard and Emily got hot
Suburban-
under the collar.
when I think of suburban design, I think of those roundabouts at the end of streets. Usually it's 3 or 4 houses
Yeah.
surrounding it. I believe that's called a cul-de-sac.
Yes. And that sounds or looks French, so that works for me.
I don't know why.
Just answer the question, Jeff. This is gonna be a new running bit. Just as soon as he looks like he's about to get going.
I just wanted to do my Rory Lorelei bit, Ken, but fine. We'll say that the answer was the plural cul-de-sac.
I don't like this Gilmore Girls version of Jeff.
Whether it's cul-de-sac or cul-de-sacs, that is the correct answer, cul-de-sac.
I know it's wrong, but it sounds right.
Number 9, perhaps my favorite question of the bunch. What fictional fruit was invented in 1958 when it was discovered that the food dye red number 2 is carcinogenic?
I really have no idea on this one, Jeff. I cannot think of a fictional fruit. That's what threw me.
In 1958.
Yeah, initially I wanted to say this word here, but that's not a fruit. But I was just thinking around that time period.
It is if you're Ronnie Reagan.
That's true. For any Clue listeners out there. So I don't know, Jeff. You can lock in with this one because I thought I was somewhere, but I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know how you would invent a fictional fruit. But yeah, I'm at a loss.
Okay, we're just going to lock in with a guess.
What about like juicy fruit?
Oh, like gum? Yeah.
Yeah, that's an ugly gum, Tastes pretty good for about 4 seconds.
And
I really like juicy fruit.
yeah, and it's
But it's not really colored anyway, right?
yeah. Well, but at least you consume it. That would make sense. I don't know. Fictional fruit and the year, for some reason, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory popped into my head, and I was thinking like snozberries.
Snozberries?
The rest of the question,
I mean, could be.
The rest of the question wouldn't make sense. So yeah, I like juicy
Rodell
fruit.
really hated kids.
All right, juicy fruit.
Yeah, we had no idea. We just said ketchup.
No points awarded this round. This is a flavor that we've all probably had at some point in time, but if you think about it, you've never actually seen this fruit out in the wild or in a produce section. It is blue raspberry.
Oh. That's true.
Ken and I were talking about that recently, how like none of the flavors are the actual flavors. Just like, I just believe that this thing that tastes like wallpaper is banana.
The snozberries taste like snozberries.
I don't know what wallpaper tastes like, honestly. But.
And number 10. Gerald Holtham created a design in the 1950s that combined the semaphore codes for N and D, standing for nuclear disarmament. What is the symbol known as today?
Oh, I think I remember this one. I think it might be like what we would know as the peace sign. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thinking of like nuclear disarmament, the peace sign, or like the nuclear fallout symbol, some nuclear fallout shelter symbol popped into my head. But yeah, I think peace sign makes more sense. So I think that's a good guess.
Okay, we'll say peace sign.
And we agree. We think this is the peace sign.
Gerald Holtham must have been a bleeding heart hippie because the answer is indeed the peace sign.
After the first round concludes here, it looks like Team Fart Foundation is going to be picking up 40 points, bringing their total to 60. And also picking up 40 points is Judgmental Day, but they are still holding on to their lead by 15 points, bringing their total to 75. Before we get to the swing round, Bill, and find out what you have in store for us, just wanted to say thank you to both Bill and Sidney for being Patreon supporters. You can join them by going to patreon.com/trivialitypodcast. And why should a prospective Triviality listener join Patreon, Jeff?
Neil, you ask me this all the time.
And you never know what to say.
And I always know what to say, which is we have so many great perks over at patreon.com/trivialitypodcast, including, ad-free episodes, early releases, bonus episodes. There's something for everybody. If you're interested in supporting the show financially, we would be so grateful. And in return, there's a little something for you over there. So go check it out. Patreon.com/trivialitypodcast.
And in true honor of the podcast, Sidney, I normally throw it to Jeff without any warning. I'm going to do it to you by vamping here a little bit so you know that I'm coming to you here with this question. But I wanted to know, you found us at Geek Bowl in Boston, which was basically when we started the show. So just curious, why are you still listening?
Yeah, you really prepped her for that one.
No, just I've been a fan since I first started listening. I don't think I realized it was still new that many years ago. Although I guess there wasn't that many episodes yet. But yeah, I think it's just a great listen. You guys have great chemistry. Especially during the pandemic and everything, it was like a great substitute for pub trivia. And just, yeah.
Well, thank you.
I think the quality and the camaraderie is just,
Even when I'm digging into Jeff pretty hard.
Yeah.
But we know it's all in good fun. I love Jeff.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's all in good fun.
Jeff? Right, Jeff?
Of course, Ken.
What Bill doesn't know is after we record every episode, we go into a dark dungeon and have a fight club, and then until we heal, that's when we can record again.
Neil, you're not allowed to talk about that.
That's true. Well, Bill, what do you have in store for us for the swing round?
So my swing round is titled First Tracks, and I wrote a little descriptor here. For this round, I will give you the name of the first track of an album and the year that album was released. Your job is to name both the artist that created the album for 3 points and the album title for 2 points. A couple tips too. Tip number 1, each of the albums is listed by Wikipedia as a top 100 selling album of all time, so these are pretty well-known albums. And tip number 2, none of the albums are self-titled, i.e. Boston's Boston, nor do they share a name with the title of the first track, i.e. Britney Spears' Baby One More Time. I will list the first, the 10 first tracks that I have, as well as the years, right now. Number 1, Let's Go Crazy, 1984. Number 2, Speak to Me, 1973. Number 3, Man, I Feel Like a Woman, 1997. Number 4, Come Together, 1969. Number 5, Rolling in the Deep, 2011. Number 6, All I Really Want, 1995. Number 7, Don't Know Why, 2002. Number 8, Funeral for a Friend / Love Lies Bleeding, 1973. Number 9, Red Intro, 1996. And number 10, Wanna Be Startin' Something, 1982.
All right, we have our questions. We'll be right back and see how we do.
When Johann Rahl received the letter on Christmas Day 1776, he put it away to read later. Maybe he thought it was a season's greeting and wanted to save it for the fireside. But what it actually was a warning, delivered to the Hessian colonel, letting him know that General George Washington was crossing the Delaware and would soon attack his forces. The next day, when Rahl lost the Battle of Trenton and died from 2 colonial Boxing Day musket balls, the letter was found, unopened, in his vest pocket. As someone with 15,000 unread emails in his inbox, I feel like there's a lesson there. Oh well, this is The Constant, a history of getting things wrong. I'm Mark Chrysler. Every episode, we look at the bad ideas, mistakes, and accidents that misshaped our world. Find us at constantpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, we are back with our answers. We'll get these questions one more time. Just a reminder to the audience that the artist will be worth 3 points. The album will be worth 2 for each of these. Bill?
So first track, number 1, was Let's Go Crazy from the year 1984.
We said Van Halen, Jump.
Neil, you donned your frilly cravat and said,
Purple Rain by Prince.
This is Prince's Purple Rain album. First track, number 2, Speak to Me, 1973.
We said Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon.
one of 2 albums I like to use when I calibrate my surround sound. Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon.
This indeed is Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon.
The other
First
album
track.
is Paula Abdul's first album.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't do a lot with the stereo work. I just enjoy it.
First track, number 3, Man, I Feel Like a Woman, 1997.
We said Come On Over, Shania Twain.
And we did say Shania Twain. We had no idea what the album was called, so we just said it was called Country Girl.
Love that guess. Would have been a better album name. It is Shania Twain, and the album is called Come On Over.
It's not a really bad song by Luke Bryant.
I don't know. You think
Man,
I
I
listen
Feel
to
Like a
Luke
Woman.
Bryant?
Constantly.
I use it to calibrate my surround sound.
And it's actually an artist. It kind of says Luke Bryant with a T because Luke Bryan, his actual albums just aren't good for surround sound apparently. So
Is it Luke Bryan?
it's just Luke Bryan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My mistake.
Oh, no, you're listening to a more indie
I
version.
mean, I know all country musicians have 2 first names, but that's fine.
And also, listen, I don't own a surround sound system, but if you have one,
It's all a lie. It's all a lie. Everything this man says is a lie.
First track, number 4, Come Together, 1969.
Neil had this one.
Yeah, we knew it was the Beatles, and we were trying to figure out what album it was, and we knew towards the end of their run, we think Abbey Road was the one that this one was on.
We also said Beatles. Wasn't too sure on the album, but we landed on Revolver.
We spun the barrel.
The question with this one was which Beatles album is it, and it was Abbey Road. First track, number 5, Rolling in the Deep, 2011.
We said Adele, and we went with 23.
Ooh, I wonder if we made a mistake, though, Jeff. I know their age numbers, but we said Adele, and we thought her really, really big hit one was 21.
Could be. We were on the fence.
This is Adele, and she was 21.
Son of a...
For trivia purposes, if I remember, I wrote this question for the calendar that's released often, but I believe this album was the one that unseated NSYNC's No Strings Attached for their record-breaking number of weeks at number 1.
A dark day for Neil.
It was a dark day for me, that's true. And then I listened to some of her ballads to help me get over it.
First track, number 6, All I Really Want, 1995.
Boy, we did not know this one. We said Ace of Base, and the album was All That She Wants.
Nice. I was thinking about that. Yeah, for 95 Smash Records, you'd be forgiven for forgetting this because I think there were 5 standout other pieces on this tracks on this album, but we said Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill.
I still think we should find a way to work Ken singing Paula Cole into this podcast somehow. But yes, the answer is Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill.
Clearly, Paula Cole didn't. All she really wanted was their lives to be over. But
And Jeff, please get your hand out of my pocket.
First track, number 7. Don't Know Why, 2002.
We said Nora Jones, pretty confident on the artist, but for the album, we just said Tomorrow, came up with something generic.
she was a big Annie fan.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, this one we knew was Nora Jones because we watched a bunch of dramatic movies and rom-coms and fast-forwarded to the slow dance scene. But we couldn't figure out the album title, so we just said it was Moonlight.
It is Nora Jones. Album title is another track you might have heard of hers, Come Away With Me.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
That's it.
First track, number 8. Funeral for a Friend / Love Lies Bleeding, 1973.
Weren't too sure. We just said The Clash and their iconic London Calling.
Yeah, I think we're going to let Taron Egerton do a better job on this double feature. We said Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
By who?
Elton John.
Thank you.
This is Elton John, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
Or Reginald Dwight, I'm sure would have been accepted, his legal name.
Oh, no. No, because that's not the artist. Elton John is the artist. Reginald Dwight's just some guy who grew up to be Elton John.
Just like Jeff Culver isn't the host. It's actually...
That's my artist name.
Your artist name.
I don't know why I chose such a vanilla artist name. But
your real name is Red Denim.
Speaking of red.
There you go.
First track, number 9, maybe the toughest one, Red Intro, 1996.
We had no idea. We just said No Doubt and Tragic Kingdom.
Yeah, you're killing me, Neil. Softly.
Yeah, this one I knew was hip hop, and it just took me forever to get to it. But we said the Fugees and The Score.
Yeah, I was hoping the intro title would kind of lead people to the hip hop genre, and in 1996, the big album was The Fugees, The Score. And number 10, Wanna Be Starting Something, 1982.
Not too sure on this one. We said Michael Jackson. Maybe it was Thriller.
Yeah, we knew it was definitely MJ, and we too said Thriller.
Michael Jackson, Thriller is the correct answer.
In true swing round fashion, it looks like the swing round lived up to its name. So both teams getting some points here. Judgmental Day going to pick up 22 points, bringing their total to 97, and taking the lead for the first time here, picking up 48 points, is Fart Foundation at 108.
Forgot how stupid our name was.
Okay, round 2. I'm a little worried about this round because, Neil, but I titled this round Not a Movie Round, and I'll read my little descriptor here. While none of the questions in this round are about cinema or motion pictures per se, the answer to each of these questions will share a name with an Academy Award Best Picture nominee. As an extra hint, the year that the film received its nomination will also be included in the question.
Okay.
Movies are not my strength, so this was kind of my attempt to do some digging into some movies and come up with some creative questions. So,
well, Neil, that should be very beneficial to you and you alone. Definitely not me.
Definitely not Ken.
Because I hate movies. Yeah, go ahead, Bill. Let's get the round.
Question 1. 1999. While their ability to perceive paranormal activity is in question, magnetoreception in pigeons, echolocation in dolphins, and electroreception in platypuses are all abilities that could be accurately described as what?
We're locked in, Neil.
1999. Could this be The Sixth Sense? That nominated?
Yeah, I like that.
I'm a big advocate for expanding beyond the classical 5 senses. I think we have many more than that, but we agree. We said The Sixth Sense.
Magnetoreception, echolocation, electroreception, all examples of a sixth sense.
But which one gets 5G?
Telekinesis.
Telekinesis, but that's the thing. You can get telekinesis, but your cell phone will only get 3G for the rest of your life. Do you take it?
Sometimes I feel like I've been dead this whole time on this podcast. Just talk. Nobody hears what I say.
Question 2 in Not a Movie Round, 2019. The idea for this game component had its origins in the game of euchre, where blank specimens that were included in the set but not intended for actual play were used as trumps. What is the funny name that later began to appear on these specimens, often accompanied by a cartoonish illustration?
Neal, I'm going to go ahead and once again lock in. That was redundant. Neal, I'm going to go ahead and lock in.
I'm just going to let you lock in, and then you can just ask me if it was a Best Picture nominee, and then that way I'll feel better about myself without getting anything wrong. So we can lock in.
So, well, we're talking about 2019. One of the prominent movies that came out was Joker. And I've often used Jokers in card games as well.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Playing cards. Yep.
how's about Joker?
Yep. I like it.
We agree. We said Joker.
These blank specimens did eventually become the Joker cards. Points to both teams. Question 3 in Not a Movie Round, 1987. When it comes to the historical chronology of their respective countries, what trait do Romulus Augustulus, Atahualpa, and Hirohito all share?
We can lock in.
Yeah, Sidney, I have a strong idea on this one. Do you have an idea?
What trait? No.
I believe these people were the last rulers of their respective countries, but more specifically, last emperors.
Emperor. Okay. Yep.
We are going to lock in with the last emperor.
I have placed an asterisk next to the name of Hirohito after play testing this question with some of my social studies colleagues who say that Japan still has a ceremonial emperor, therefore Hirohito is not technically the last emperor. But if you type into Google who was Japan's last emperor, Hirohito does come up because the answer to this question is the last emperor. Question 4, 2022. In 1992, Americans voted on a matter of vital national importance. Should a new U.S. postage stamp feature a younger version of this person or an older version of this person? The younger version won in a landslide, on its way to becoming the most popular postage stamp in U.S. history. Who did this stamp portray?
I am locked in for this one.
All right.
Yeah, so Jeff, I think this has got to be the king. Got to be Elvis. Pretty face. They probably didn't want the version of Elvis eating the peanut butter banana sandwiches, whatever he was eating. So we said Elvis.
Elvis is what I was thinking of too.
I was debating working some hound dog or some all right mama into this question, but you guys didn't need it. The answer was Elvis.
Yeah, a story I wanted to tell, thinking about this question was Jacob Elordi is in the new movie about Priscilla Presley, directed by Sofia Coppola. And you have, the version of Elvis that Baz Luhrmann did with one of Ken's favorite actors. He's drinking water now, but he can come back here. Austin Butler. Anyway, he's not really your favorite actor, but Austin Butler.
Literally one thing.
I know. He spent 3 years, perfecting his Elvis accent, and now they're saying that Jacob Elordi's is even better, and he'd never even heard Elvis before except for Lilo and Stitch. So there you go.
And he's like British, right?
He's Australian, yeah.
Australian,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, that hurts.
It does hurt, yeah.
Question 5 in Not a Movie Round, 1994. Particularly popular during the first half of the 20th century, this type of literature gets its name from the low-quality paper on which it was often printed. It is also known for its lurid, sensational stories and its exploration of themes that could include things like great vengeance and furious anger. What is the name of this literary genre?
We are locked in.
So yellow journalism is what popped into my head, but
well, I'm kind of getting a hint due to the latex suit that Jeff is wearing across from me.
Here, wait, Jeff, take the Big Apple thing out of your mouth first before you talk.
He's got the gag in his mouth. I think we're gonna go with Pulp Fiction for this one.
Oh, yep.
Yep, I quickly and mentally went through the 1994 Best Picture because it's one of the best years of movies ever. And I was like, which one would make a good question? And I wrote down Pulp Fiction, and thankfully it was that. So we locked in Pulp Fiction.
I'm surprised because your favorite movie is from 1994.
It is Shawshank Redemption, yeah.
The answer is indeed Pulp Fiction. Debated whether or not I should throw in The Great Vengeance and Furious Anger, but
After the first half of the second round, the scores were basically the opinion that Quentin Tarantino has about himself. Perfect. Both teams scoring 50 points. So it looks like the Judgmental Day is going to be 147, and Fart Foundation will be at 158. So very close game.
And much like Quentin Tarantino, we're going to get to the 10th question, then we're going to be done.
That's true. That's true. Very good point.
Question 6 in Not a Movie Round, 2008. Of the 30 U.S. states that have designated an official state beverage, which beverage is by far the most popular, having been selected by 20 of the participating states?
So we were going through the Best Picture nominees, and I believe this is the year Sean Penn won his second Oscar, playing Harvey Milk. So we put Milk as our answer.
I reluctantly am putting milk because I don't want to drink it.
You don't want bovine lactose?
I do not.
How about some of this bovine lactose?
Indiana's state beverage is water. Nebraska's state beverage is Kool-Aid. But 20 of the participating states chose milk. Milk is the correct answer.
Wow.
I'd love to see Sean Penn play the Kool-Aid Man, though.
Oh, yeah.
When he gets that third Oscar.
Yeah, he's just filled with rage. I don't want to break through any walls anymore.
We'll walk up to the stage, clutching that Oscar, and just say, oh, yeah.
Question 7, 1943. This city has a population of over 3 million people, making it the most populous city in its region. It is also considered a global financial center, ranking 54th in the year 2022, and outperforming cities such as New Delhi, Istanbul, and Mexico City. It is a port city, specializing in the export of phosphate, but it supports many other thriving industries as well, including fishing, furniture production, glass, textiles, leatherwork, spirits, and cigarettes. What city is it?
Based on the year, I was thinking Casablanca.
Yeah, that was definitely my first impression too. Just kind of looking at the question here, just making sure it might fit the categories. I think that's a good answer, and 43 seems about right.
And we two said Casablanca.
Casablanca is correct.
Here's looking at you, Bill.
Question 8 in Not a Movie Round, 2018. Often thought to be its own distinct species, this animal is actually just a different colored version of one of two other species. Those two species come from different parts of the world, but even when sporting their more traditional tawny coats, are still often confused with one another due to their spots. What is the more common name used to describe the melanistic variant of these two species?
All right, we did some reasoning over here and kind of put it up against what we thought were Best Picture nominees. We're going to lock in.
Okay, Sidney, you're kind of nodding and have a good idea for this one. What were you thinking?
Based on the year and that it's an animal, I was thinking Black Panther.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was nominated.
Nice guy.
Yeah. I like it. Let's go with it.
Yeah, initially we had written down the animal Green Book, but we officially locked in with Black Panther.
Green Book, the best movie of the last 20 years. Easily.
This is one of those where I knew I wanted to write a question about the movie and learned all this information in researching the species that the movie is named after, which actually isn't even a species. It's a black panther, which is just a melanistic variant of the jaguar or the leopard, apparently. So points to both teams.
You don't recognize the yeah?
Well, there's two versions of that. You could do the yeah, which is
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We go,
Secret of the Ooze. Yeah.
That's one of my favorites of all time.
The Weeble.
The second version I was saying is
Kermit the Frog.
Well, no, I was saying, well, yeah, that too. I was thinking of Goldie from Back to the Future when he goes, yeah, Mayor.
Yeah, I was doing the Mayor Goldie Wilson.
Yeah.
Question 9 in Not a Movie Round, 1976. What was the nickname of the 41st Vice President of the United States, whose last name was also used to describe more moderate and liberal members of his political party, particularly those from the Northeast and Midwest?
Okay, Jeff and I wrote down some of the nominees that we knew from this year. It was a pretty famous year for who won. And we think one of them fits a nickname.
Well, I'm having trouble coming at this from either angle. Sidney, did you have anything jumping out at you for now?
Based on the year, Rocky, I thought of Rocky, and I thought maybe that could be a nickname for someone. And then
I don't know who that would be, but I like your intuition.
I think one of the Rockefellers, maybe Nelson, not sure where that's coming from, was the vice president for someone. I would have guessed, probably earlier than 41, because 41 I think would be like well into the 20th century, but I'm thinking maybe Rockefeller, and then that was
I love it. I love your intuition. Yep. Let's go, Rocky.
So, actually, it's not too far off in the modern era. Quite a few of the earlier presidents who vacated office by means of dying didn't often have their vice presidents replace them and then replace the vice president until much later. So we believe that this is Rocky, named for Nelson Rockefeller, who was Gerald Ford, the 38th president's VP.
Nelson Rockefeller is the vice president in question. Rockefeller Republicans were moderate and liberal Republicans from the Northeast, which used to be a thing. And his nickname was Rocky.
Nice.
He totally backed it.
Well done, Sidney.
I don't know where it came from, but.
And the last question in Not a Movie Round, question 10, 2007. Sailing to Byzantium is a poem by William Butler Yeats. In this poem, Yeats sails to the title city because he has determined that his current location, a place with, quote, the young in one another's arms, birds in the trees, those dying generations at their song, end quote, is a place where he no longer belongs at this late stage in his life. In other words, as the first line of the poem states, Yeats' current location is a place that is what?
Oh, wow.
We can lock in.
Wow.
So the other team did some crazy reasoning here on their end, knowing the movies and maybe knowing a little bit about this poem. You have any ideas?
So at first I was thinking maybe something biblical. Like I think there was a movie called like Babel or Babylon, but I think that's a little bit older. And then based on talking about aging and getting older, then I thought of the one with he plays like an assassin, No Country for Old Men, I think. I don't know, 2007 might be a little.
His current location is a place that is No Country for Old Men.
Yeah,
I like that. That's a great answer, and it fits in with the end of the question, so let's go for it.
Yeah, so we wrote down what we thought the nominees were. There Will Be Blood, No Country for Old Men, Michael Clayton, Juno, which we knew was a location. But yeah, we just went with location and said Juno.
It's crazy.
The young in one another's arms, birds in the trees,
No
those dying generations at their song. This place is no country for old men.
Yeah. I forgot that.
What
a
a coincidence that, it's the name of that book, No Country for Old Men, and also in this poem. Just a coincidence, I'm sure.
Oh, yes, of course.
Not borrowed.
Wow, Sidney is a force to be reckoned with here.
Who's the film buff now, Neal?
Who's the real assassin, actually?
I named all the nominees from that year. Okay. Judgmental Day, you're picking up 100 points. You were perfect that round, bringing your total to 197. And Jeff, we only picked up 90 points, unfortunately.
Pathetic.
But it still gives us 1 point lead over the other teams.
It's 1 point?
198.
God damn it.
For once, it truly is anybody's game.
So what are our final round categories?
I love the idea of Juneau just being a place that old men can't travel to too. But the final The final 5 categories, I decided to go my own wheelhouse for this last round. So your 5 categories are U.S. history, cats, professional wrestling, books, and Minnesota sports.
The wagers are now locked in, and they're kind of all over the place. What did you guys end up doing?
Well, Jeff kind of forced my hand here. He said, why don't we just go all in and see if we can finish this thing? So that's what we did.
All right, let's see if you can. Let's have the questions.
Question 1 in U.S. history. You probably know that the teddy bear was named after U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt. You may not know, however, that Roosevelt's successor, William Howard Taft, tried to duplicate the success of the teddy bear by creating a stuffed version of what other North American mammal, which for many probably doesn't rank very high on the cuteness scale. Question 2 under cats. One of the many great things about being a cat owner is that cats are very clean, spending as much as 50% of their day grooming themselves. An added bonus is that in addition to grooming, many cats also practice allo-grooming, which means that they what? Question 3 in professional wrestling. The 2 most famous professional wrestlers to come out of my adopted hometown of Robbinsdale, Minnesota, share a lot of things in common. Both were born in 1958 and reached the height of their wrestling careers in the late 80s and early 90s. Both predominantly worked as arrogant heels and chose ring names that advertised their flawlessness and or sex appeal. Both suffered untimely deaths in their early 40s. Name either of these Robbinsdale wrestlers. Number 4 under books. Co-written with Alex Haley, whose autobiography, which is widely regarded as one of the most important nonfiction works in American history, was published posthumously in 1965, 9 months after his assassination. And question 5 under Minnesota sports. When it comes to championship droughts by state in men's professional sports, Minnesota is the driest by far. Of its 4 major professional sports teams, the Twins were the last to bring home a championship by winning the 1991 World Series. Minnesota's other 3 teams, the Timberwolves, Vikings, and Wild, have never won a championship in their respective leagues. When you put all that together, how many consecutive championship-less seasons have these 4 teams completed since that World Series victory in the fall of '91? Closest guess gets the points.
All right, we have our questions. Let's go to a break, see if we can figure these out. The answers are now all locked in. Let's go ahead and run back to questions, see who will be today's cream of the crop. Hope it's us.
So the first final round question was in U.S. history. You probably know that the teddy bear was named after U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt. You may not know, however, that Roosevelt's successor, William Howard Taft, tried to duplicate the success of the teddy bear by creating a stuffed version of what other North American mammal, which for many probably doesn't rank very high on the cuteness scale.
We wagered 30 points on this one, and we thought nothing more American than the bison.
Yeah, we also wagered 30 points, and I just don't know why the Billy Possum never caught on.
The answer is the Billy Possum.
Fine.
Not the cutest animal.
I would love a stuffed possum.
I wrote Billy Possum so fast. I don't know if you saw me. I love that question.
How did you know that, Jeff?
Because
he's a freak. It was a CBT.
No. I read a story about how the teddy bear came to be in the first place.
What's the guy's name? CGPT Gray.
CGP Gray.
ChatGPT Gray.
Exactly. So I read a story about how the teddy bear came up, and everybody thought it was because Roosevelt was being generous for they trapped this smaller bear, and it's oh, look at him, he has such a heart. But the truth of the matter is he thought it wasn't very sporting to catch a small bear, and so he wasn't going to just shoot
to kill the mom bear.
Well, it was tied against a tree. He wasn't going to just shoot it against a tree. That wasn't very sporting. He had someone else do it.
Okay.
So
It makes it's a cute stuffed animal, the Billy Possum. If you haven't seen it, look it up. I would love to cuddle with one of those. Question 2, cats. One of the many great things about being a cat owner is that cats are very clean, spending as much as 50% of their day grooming themselves. An added bonus is that in addition to grooming, many cats also practice allo grooming, which means that they what?
For 15 points on this one, we're saying that they groom others.
And Jeff, you felt some sort of kinship with this answer?
Yeah, we agree. We said that they will clean each other. They are social groomers.
They will groom each other, and perhaps your cat has also even tried to groom you. That is what allo grooming is. So points to both teams.
They're the Drake of the animal kingdom. And after this episode is recorded, I can't wait to take our communal shower, as we do after every episode.
Like the scene in Starship Troopers, just like that.
That's right. Snapping you with the towel.
Question 3, professional wrestling. The two most famous professional wrestlers to come out of my adopted hometown of Robbinsdale, Minnesota, share a lot of things in common. Both were born in 1958 and reached the height of their wrestling careers in the late 80s and early 90s. Both predominantly worked as arrogant heels and chose ring names that advertised their flawlessness and or sex appeal. Both suffered untimely deaths in their early 40s. Name either of these Robbinsdale wrestlers.
Well, hope he's alive and well, but we said the $1 Million Man for 0 points.
Ted DiBiase. We said Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect, but officially locked in Rick Rude.
Yeah, you guys got both of them. $1 Million Man is still alive. He still makes appearances on some indie shows around the area, but not alive, unfortunately, are Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig or ravishing Rick Rude. Mr. Perfect's actually buried right here in neighboring town, New Hope. You can go down to the mausoleum and visit his tomb. So I've done that a couple times. Paid my respects. Question 4, books. Co-written with Alex Haley, whose autobiography, which is widely regarded as one of the most important nonfiction works in American history, was published posthumously in 1965, 9 months after his assassination?
You had a great idea on this one, Sidney, so I'll let you take it for 30 points.
Based on the timing and the co-author, we said Martin Luther King Jr.
Well, it's kind of the same vein in which we were thinking. I'm pretty sure Alex Haley is the one who wrote Roots. We were thinking about Martin Luther King Jr., who I think it was 68. So we said Malcolm X.
Martin Luther King was assassinated in 1968. Malcolm X was assassinated in early 1965. This is the autobiography of Malcolm X, which, if there's any nonfiction book that has impacted me pretty profoundly, that one's it. Written in 1965, but the way that Malcolm X describes kind of like his reality growing up as a black man in the United States of America, it feels oftentimes like he could be talking about the world today. So highly recommend to anyone interested in such things. And question 5, Minnesota sports. When it comes to championship droughts by state in men's professional sports, Minnesota is the driest by far. Of its 4 major professional sports teams, the Twins were the last to bring home a championship by winning the 1991 World Series. Minnesota's other 3 teams, the Timberwolves, Vikings, and Wild, have never won a championship in their respective leagues. When you put all that together, how many consecutive championshipless seasons have these 4 teams completed since that World Series victory in the fall of 91? Closest guess gets the points.
Well, we did not wager on this one, so we're basically just trying to block you guys from getting your points, and hopefully you'll lose some points. We just added them all up, took out a couple strike seasons. We didn't do what you wisely did, which was consider that the Wild came into the league later, but we said 124.
Yep, as you said, we figured it's been about 32-ish years, and there was probably a couple strikes and lockouts, so that knocked it down a bit. Wild, I'm pretty sure, came into the league in 2001. We totaled it up for a 116. Hopefully that'll get it.
With the Twins being eliminated from the postseason about a month ago, the total number of championshipless seasons that our Minnesota streak is at is 118. Very close. 120 if you count the North Stars, but that was not part of the question. So 118 points will go to Neal and Jeff.
Wow.
Well, thankfully, Jeff was able to carry that final round other than the wrestling one. So appreciate that, Jeff. But it looks like Team Judgmental Day is going to be giving us judgmental looks as they will lose 45 points, bringing their total to 152. And Team Fart Foundation was saving up a lot of ammo, and it seems that 150 points is a good amount of ammo because they will end with 348 farts points to become today's cream of the crop.
Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in, but the cream will rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, looks like that blew up in our face. A little bit.
It did. I just want to say, Sidney, what a hard competitor. You were firing all cylinders today. That was pretty exciting to watch. And whoever
she chosen more wisely, that was her only mistake.
Bill gave the warning, like the Ghost of Christmas Past.
I tried to warn you, Sidney.
It was a shot across the bow, but it was unheeded.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Sidney, whatever team you're on for trivia, you guys are a good team, and they're very lucky to have you.
You know what it's like? It's like when you do a work-out and you run in the weighted vest.
Right.
That's what it was. She's training.
Right. She's in training mode. Yeah. Well, Sidney, thank you for joining us. Anyone you'd like to shout out or anything else you'd like to say before we let you go today?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was so much fun. I'll just give a plug for if you are eligible and able and willing to consider becoming a blood donor or even to do it on the regular. It's a great way to give back, and you get free snacks. So
wise words. Yeah, definitely take those words of
cause.
advice. Yeah. And Bill, always great to have you here. We're excited to see you in person wrestle, but anything you'd like to say before we let you go today?
One last shout out to Trivia Mafia, my favorite trivia company up here in the Twin Cities. And if you're looking to add some daily trivia into your life, go to triviamafia.com. Subscribe to their daily rounds email. That is where I got the questions for today's first round. So every morning around like 6:30, 6:45, you get an email. It's got 5 questions. They're always super fun. I play with my friend Annie, who I'm also going to shout out because she has been very frustrated that I've not shouted her out the first 2 times I've been on the show. So Annie, me and her compete every week, and the winner each week, or I should say the loser each week, has to donate $10 to a charity of the other person's choice.
That's a great
So
way to play trivia.
That's how we use the Trivia Mafia rounds. And Annie did beat me this most recent week. Even answered Monday's questions 2 hours before she gave birth to her second son. She was like 2 minutes between contractions and still beat me on the Monday question. So Annie is a warrior. Annie, here is your shout out. Now, please.
You got to pass time somehow.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you so much, Bill, for being here. And shout out to your students. If any of them were going to listen to this, it was a great game, especially that movie round was really, really inventive and really cool. So always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you both for being Patreon supporters. But Ken, speaking of wrestling, you're in the center of the ring right now because we have one more entity to shout out to behind the stage.
Yes, and that entity, as Neal calls it, is Airwave Media, our network. You can find them at airwavemedia.com and check out other podcasts such as A Mindful Moment, Sleep Tight Science, and the Unbiased Science Podcast.
Well, yeah, definitely check out those shows. We're excited to be a part of the network. And for Matt and Jeff and Ken and Bill and Sidney, my name is Neal, and we will see you Cleveland 2024 at the Thunderdome or whatever your stadium's called.
The hell are you talking?
I don't know. I was going to try to get into a wrestling thing, but then I lost interest when I heard Cleveland. So sorry, everyone from Cleveland. We hope you enjoyed Triviality. We'll see you next week.